Hi guys, welcome back to another Millennium Falcon Refurb series video. So far things are going quite well, with only a few missing pieces, but I do expect that to ramp up as we get towards the end of the build, especially some of the more generic pieces. This has been a childhood dream though, and it got me thinking that perhaps as we're building, or rebuilding these iconic starships we should explore more of the Star Wars lore surrounding them. So let's dive a little deeper into the Millennium Falcon. Long before its unveiling in the Mos Eisley spaceport, the Millennium Falcon rolled off the production line at Carillion Engineering Corporation's Orbital Assembly Facility 7 as a YT-1300 light freighter. These vessels saw extensive use during the time of the Republic and Galactic Empire, mostly for transporting cargo and passengers, and was highly regarded due to its modular design. Its forward mandibles and side-mounted cockpit were employed to maneuver cargo containers, and to act as a tug for larger ships. Of course, this level of customization drew the attraction of those that might use this flexibility for making various illegal modifications and using the freighter for smuggling and piracy. Over its lifetime, the Millennium Falcon has received all manner of upgrades and modifications, all lending to the ship's notoriety across the galaxy. There have been various publications, books, expanded universe content like comics and novels that have detailed various parts of the Millennium Falcon's history. Its earliest chronological on-screen appearance is actually in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, as a YT-1300 can be seen landing in the background at a spaceport on Coruscant. This has been confirmed by George Lucas himself, however according to the 2018 publication of the Millennium Falcon Owner's Workshop Manual, at this time the ship was named the Stellar Envoy, and was owned by the Republic Group out of Ralshire. The ship was sometime later wrecked and rebuilt after it collided with a heavy freight container. Sometime after this it came into the hands of Lando Calrissian when he won it in a hand of Sabacc. Lando noticed the capability of the ship's sublight engines, which were designed for hauling freight, and converted the ship into his glamorous personal sports car as he swanned around the galaxy looking fresh. When the Falcon came onto the screen in 2018 Solo, a Star Wars story, it looked very different to its last on-screen outing, most notably due to the ship's original escape pod had been restored and was housed between the forward mandibles. As seen in this film, when making the notorious sub-12 parsec Kessel Run transporting volatile unrefined coaxium to Savareen, Han Solo jettisons the escape pod and gives the Falcon its trademark profile. Following the dangerous run where Han deliberately flew close to black holes contained within the Maw Nebulae to shorten the route to Savareen, Lando had to rebuild the ship once more before losing it in a Sabacc game himself to Han Solo. Han and his co-pilot Chewbacca become the most famous owners of the Millennium Falcon over the course of its career, as the two spend the next few decades modifying the ship and completing various smuggling operations throughout the galaxy. Some time before we first meet Han and Chewie in the Mos Eisley Cantina, the Millennium Falcon was boarded by the Imperial Navy while completing a smuggling run for Jabba the Hutt, and in order to pass inspection jettisons his illicit cargo before the boarding. Jabba places a bounty on Han's life which plays directly into the main story of the original trilogy of the Star Wars films. We first meet Han and Chewie when Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker and the droids require safe passage to Alderaan as requested by Princess Leia Organa. Over the next 4 years, Han and Chewie were dragged against their will into the conflict of the Galactic Civil War, with the Millennium Falcon becoming instrumental in several engagements across that span. It was Han, Chewie and the Falcon that protected Luke from Darth Vader and his TIE advanced on his final approach of the Death Star trench run, allowing Luke to make the shot that destroyed the first Death Star. The Falcon also featured in evacuating Princess Leia and the droids from Echo Base and escaping through the asteroid field. Lando commanded the Falcon once more at the Battle of Endor, assuming the title of Gold Leader, and attacked the interior of the second Death Star. The Falcon fired upon the reactor core of the Death Star before barely outrunning the ensuing explosion. Behind the scenes, the Falcon features in many novelizations, most of which now are relegated to legend status after the Disney acquisition of LucasArts. Many of these stories are directly contradicted by the sequel trilogy. In The Force Awakens, Rey and Finn find the Falcon sitting in a shipyard on Jakku. Upon liberating it, it was then returned to Han and Chewie and featured heavily again as Rey went off to track down Luke Skywalker, and finally at the head of the armada that assaulted the Final Order fleet of the resurrected Emperor Palpatine on Exegol. In the next video, we'll really see this one come together, and we might discuss the various modifications to the ship's systems. I think this will end up being a 5-part series, with the 5th video being after the spare parts come in that I will have to order to fix up the build. Thanks everyone, see you next time.